In my career, I always experienced the kind of a thing where people said, I don't think you will make it.
I want to actually become the greatest bodybuilder of all time
in the world.
Arnold Schwarzenegger! Can you imagine the feeling I have 6 times Mr. Olympia?
No one close to him.
No one close to him.
Lee Haney's not close to him.
No,
You're not close to him if he had a Chad Nichols today.
No.
That's the highest level of compliment you can give
Well,
to
look
him.
at that, though. Look at that. There ain't nobody got nothing like that no more.
The word GOAT isn't just a title, it's a revolution. A force so unstoppable, it rewrites history. In bodybuilding, only one name towers above the rest: Arnold Schwarzenegger. The man who didn't just lift weights, he lifted an entire sport into the spotlight.
Arnold is what opened the door for us.
He was my hero growing up as a bodybuilder. The guy's phenomenal, especially what he's done for the sport.
Before them, there was no such thing as professional bodybuilding.
But how did a rebellious Austrian kid with a 22-inch biceps obsession become the blueprint for greatness? Strap in. By the end, you'll understand why no one has ever matched his legacy.
If my life was a movie, no one would believe it.
Thal, Austria. 1947. A town still scarred by World War II. No gyms, no protein shakes, just snow, poverty, and a boy named Arnold Schwarzenegger. His father, Gustav, was a police chief who believed in two things: discipline and the rod. Arnold's crime? Dreaming bigger.
I had no money, I had no things, we had no TV, we had no refrigerator, we had nothing as kids, but I was rich because I had a dream.
While his brother Meinhard obeyed, Arnold rebelled.
I was very ambitious and had big plans.
At 14, he found a bodybuilding magazine featuring Reg Park, a British Hercules who'd starred in Hercules in the Haunted World. That moment, it wasn't inspiration, it was obsession. Arnold didn't just want to be strong, he wanted to embody perfection. The images of chiseled physiques and heroic poses ignited a fire within him that would drive him to push his body to the limits. It was at that moment that the seed of his destiny was planted, one that would lead him on a relentless journey from obscurity to global stardom.
So I wanted to have exactly the same career, so I started training 5-6 hours a day and became a fanatic about it.
Arnold's first gym was a crumbling basement with a barbell made of concrete and scrap metal. His father called him delusional. His teachers mocked his accent. Even his mother begged him to be normal. But Arnold had a secret weapon: rage. Every insult, every beating, every no fueled him.
He said, I want to be the biggest bodybuilder in the world, the greatest bodybuilder in the world, the richest bodybuilder in the world. I want to live in California. I thought, you silly sod.
He studied psychology with Dr. Carl Gerstel, learning to harness the power of mental discipline. His mantra was simple: embrace the pain, welcome the struggle, and let it fuel your transformation. Every time he encountered a setback or heard the doubters say, "You can't do this," he saw it as a challenge to overcome. This mindset became his greatest asset. By 15, he was sneaking into Graz's athletic union gym. While others slept, Arnold trained. And when his father found his hidden bodybuilding magazines, he burned them. Arnold's response? He stole money to buy more. Arnold wasn't just building muscle, he was building armor. The gym was his escape from a world that told him he'd never be enough. Arnold's older brother, Meinhard, was the golden child, obedient, athletic, and loved by their father. But as Arnold's obsession grew, Meinhard spiraled into alcoholism, later dying in a drunk driving accident. Arnold rarely speaks of him, but insiders say Meinhard's fate became a dark motivator. I had to be twice as good to escape that life. But Arnold wasn't just fighting his family. He was about to commit a crime that would land him in jail and change his life forever. 1965. Arnold was 18. The Austrian army owned him. His job? Driving tanks. His punishment? Forced haircuts, endless drills, and zero gyms.
And pain and discomfort and torture.
But Arnold had a problem. The Junior Mr. Europe competition was in Stuttgart, and he was stuck in basic training. So he did the unthinkable. He deserted. Sneaking out at night, he hitchhiked 200 miles to Germany, arriving still in uniform. The result? He won. The prize? A trophy taller than his sergeant. The cost? A week in military prison. Behind bars, Arnold made a vow: I will never be trapped again. But his jailers noticed something odd. The same officers who locked him up started sneaking him protein bars. Why? They'd seen his trophy. Word spread. This kid wasn't a deserter. He was a prodigy. By the time Arnold left prison, the army reassigned him to bodybuild full-time. His punishment? Becoming a national hero. Within months, Arnold became a celebrity. Newspapers called him the Austrian Oak. Politicians invited him to dinners. But Arnold didn't care about fame. He wanted a bigger stage.
This is not what I'm looking for, the bigger stuff.
And in 1966, he found it. The Mr. Universe competition in London, where he'd face a man who'd destroy him. Arnold's training during this era defied logic. No heart rate monitors, no recovery tech, just iron and instinct. He pioneered German volume training, 10 sets of 10 reps, a brutal regimen that left competitors vomiting.
It was like a rep, a set, a weight that get me one step closer to my goal.
Modern scientists now credit this method with triggering hyper-muscle growth, but back then, it was madness. London, 1966. The NABBA, Mr. Universe. Arnold's first international stage. His opponent? Chet Yorton, a genetic freak with abs carved from marble. Yorton was everything Arnold wasn't. Sculpted, symmetrical, perfect. Judges drooled over his aesthetics. The crowd whispered his name. But Arnold had a secret weapon: psychological warfare. What happened next wasn't a contest. It was a massacre. Arnold posed with a ferocity nobody had ever seen. Yorton's perfection. It looked robotic. Arnold's raw power? Electrifying. He lost, but left with a trophy bigger than victory. A reputation. Arnold didn't just lose to Yorton, he broke him. Chet quit competing a year later. Arnold? He flew home, tore up his old training plan, and invented a new science of pain. Arnold's new regimen? German volume training. 10 sets of 10 reps. Every single day. He'd squat until he vomited, bench until his pecs tore, then dance for hours to perfect his posing. His mantra: the last 3 reps are what make the muscle grow. The rest is just warming up. But Arnold's hunger wasn't just physical. By 1968, he wanted the one title that mattered, Mr. Olympia. And standing in his way, a man nicknamed The Myth. Before we jump into the next chapter of Arnold's rise, just hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. It only gets crazier from here. At just 23 years old, Arnold Schwarzenegger was already a dominant force in bodybuilding, but he faced the biggest challenge of his career: Sergio Oliva, the reigning 3-time Mr. Olympia, known as The Myth.
A 3-time Mr. Olympia, he's known as The Myth, Sergio Oliva!
Oliva was a genetic marvel, with a massive 57-inch chest and 22-inch arms that defied belief. His sheer size and muscle density made him seem unbeatable. Arnold had faced Oliva before and lost, but this time, he came prepared. He studied posing techniques, improved his conditioning, and learned how to manipulate stage lighting to enhance his muscle definition. He also worked on his symmetry, ensuring that he presented a more balanced physique compared to Oliva's raw size. The competition in New York was fierce. Oliva's muscle mass was overwhelming, but Arnold's strategic posing and improved proportions made a difference. As the crowd roared, the judges made their decision. Arnold Schwarzenegger had dethroned The Myth, winning his first Mr. Olympia title. It was a passing of the torch, the beginning of an era where Arnold would dominate the sport. The 1971 Mr. Olympia was shrouded in controversy. The IFBB had banned many top competitors, including Sergio Oliva and Franco Columbu, due to their participation in unsanctioned competitions. This left Arnold as the only competitor eligible to win the title. With no challengers to push him, Arnold treated the event as an exhibition, showcasing his physique and posing routine. Though it was a technical victory, it left an empty feeling. Arnold wanted to prove himself against the best, not win by default. Still, this victory marked his second consecutive Mr. Olympia title, and he used it as motivation to continue refining his body for future battles. A year after his controversial win, Arnold faced Sergio Oliva once again, this time in Essen, Germany. Oliva was hungry for redemption, coming in bigger and more prepared than ever. Many believed this would be the greatest battle in bodybuilding history. Arnold knew he couldn't outsize Oliva, so he focused on outconditioning him. His cuts were sharper, his waist tighter, and his posing was more refined. When the two legends stood side by side, it was a clash of titans. The decision was razor thin. Some judges favored Oliva's mass, while others were swayed by Arnold's aesthetics. In the end, Arnold secured the victory by a small margin, earning his third Mr. Olympia title. It was a moment of triumph, but it also solidified his rivalry with Oliva, who never competed in the Olympia again. By 1973, Arnold was untouchable. He had refined his physique to near perfection, with a combination of mass, symmetry, and stage presence that no one could match. His main challengers, including Franco Columbu and Ed Corney, were excellent bodybuilders.
I hope he is.
But Arnold was simply in a league of his own.
When it comes to the day of the contest, I'm his father.
In New York City, Arnold showcased his best package yet. His posing was confident, his muscles were full and defined, and his presence commanded the stage. The result? A unanimous victory. Arnold had now won 4 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, and his dominance was unquestioned. The 1974 Mr. Olympia introduced a new threat, Lou Ferrigno, a 6'5", 275-pound giant who was being hyped as the next big thing in bodybuilding. Ferrigno, known for his massive size and deep voice, had trained relentlessly for this moment, hoping to dethrone Arnold. But experience trumps raw potential.
He will be ready to lose.
Arnold used his superior posing skills, muscle maturity, and conditioning to overshadow Ferrigno's mass. The younger competitor struggled to match Arnold's charisma and presentation. When the final poses were called, it was clear Arnold was still the undisputed king of bodybuilding. He claimed his 5th consecutive title, and Ferrigno, though impressive, realized he had much to learn.
You're the king of kings,
The 1975 Mr. Olympia was special. It was the competition documented in Pumping Iron, the film that would later introduce bodybuilding to the mainstream. Arnold, knowing this would be his last competition, approached it with a new mindset.
I called my mother yesterday already and I said I won.
He wanted to win, but he also wanted to put on a show. Facing off against the likes of Serge Nubret and Lou Ferrigno once again, Arnold came in at around 225 pounds, leaner than in previous years, but with a refined, sculpted look. His posing routine was masterful, blending drama and precision. By the end of the night, Arnold had secured his 6th Mr. Olympia title. After the victory, he announced his retirement from competitive bodybuilding, stating, "I had no more goals in bodybuilding."
I'm retiring from bodybuilding competition.
He was now ready to pursue a career in Hollywood. After 5 years away from competition, Arnold made a shocking return at the 1980 Mr. Olympia in Sydney, Australia. His motivation? His Hollywood career had stalled, and he missed the thrill of competing. However, Arnold's return was controversial. He had announced his entry late, and many competitors felt blindsided. Chris Dickerson, the favorite to win, dismissed Arnold as a has-been. When Arnold stepped on stage, he wasn't at his all-time best. He was lean but lacked the fullness of his earlier years.
The day when I won the 7th Mr. Olympia title, I felt like, I was not in great shape.
Still, his stage presence, confidence, and legendary status played a role in the judging. The final decision was divisive, with many believing other competitors deserved the win. But the judges awarded Arnold his 7th and final Mr. Olympia title. The victory was met with mixed reactions. Some cheered, while others, like Mike Menser, were outraged. Despite the controversy, Arnold had made history once again. Arnold Schwarzenegger's 7 Mr. Olympia titles cemented his legacy as the greatest bodybuilder of all time. His mix of strategy, showmanship, and sheer determination changed the sport forever.
That Arnold definitely, I think, the greatest bodybuilder ever.
But more than just titles, Arnold brought bodybuilding into the mainstream, paving the way for future champions and the fitness industry as we know it today. From his battles with Sergio Oliva to his unexpected 1980 comeback, Arnold's journey was one of discipline, intelligence, and unbreakable willpower. His story remains an inspiration to bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts worldwide. Today's bodybuilders are bigger, they're heavier, they've got steroids, SARMs, and billion-dollar supplements, but none have matched Arnold's legacy. Why? Because Arnold wasn't just strong, he was smart. He turned bodybuilding into entertainment. The poses, the charisma, the showmanship. He made muscles tell a story. Arnold's real genius? He knew greatness isn't forever. At 27, he walked away from bodybuilding to become Hollywood's highest paid actor. He didn't just retire, he reinvented himself. Again and again. Arnold's secret wasn't discipline, it was delusion. He believed he could be Mr. Olympia, then a movie star, then governor of California, before he'd even achieved step one.
That's
Like
three different
lives.
lives.
3 lives.
That's the GOAT mindset. See the future, then force reality to catch up. Modern bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath credit Arnold as their North Star. Even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson calls him the blueprint. But Arnold's true impact? He made muscles mainstream. Without him, there's no CrossFit, no fitness influencers, no $100 billion supplement industry. But here's the question. Could Arnold survive in today's bodybuilding world, with his flawed proportions and small 22-inch arms? Or was he just a product of a simpler time? The answer might surprise you. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just dominate bodybuilding. He redefined what it means to be great. 7 Mr. Olympias, a Hollywood empire, a political career. But his true legacy? Proof that obsession beats talent, that hunger beats genetics, and that a kid from nowhere can become immortal. His legacy is set in stone. But here's the real question. Do you think anyone will ever surpass what Arnold achieved? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more, click on the next video on your screen.